Hi everyone. It is month 2 officially, so second video of this particular series. Um, Not much to report for month 2, if I'm being completely honest. Um, I have been doing my best to be cognizant and look out for changes, um, but just doesn't seem like there's very much to report. There are changes. They're mainly subtle, not a lot physical, more so mental and psychological. But like the first video, I'll kind of go top to bottom just for the sake of consistency. Um, so mentally, yes, I'm going to dive into that in a bit more depth in a second. Um, Face lots of acne still going on in month 2. I am very happy to report that towards the end of month 2, um, it did decrease in the face area a little bit more. So month 1 was everywhere. It was day to night. It was really frustrating. Then maybe the second week of the second month, it was concentrating more so like in the jaw area. Um, and maybe in the past week, it's gone down a little bit where I have like some little bit of acne in like the top chest area. I also think that could possibly be in part one because it's summertime and right where like a binder or a sports bra would be. That's where it's been. So, um, you know, shower lots, change your sports bras, change your binders, keep them clean, etc., etc. All those things could help. No facial hair. That's not something that I am interested in growing. So if that stays a bay, that works for me. Um, in regards to body hair, not much body hair elsewhere. We are still in quarantine, so my gym is still closed, which means I have not been very good about working out at all. That is one piece of this puzzle that I wish um, I could have better track of. I'd like to know what I started out weighing and how that has fluctuated since starting T, but I don't have a scale, don't really want to buy one, don't have access to a gym, so I'm just, eyeballing it. I have gained a bit more weight, lost some muscle mass. I was working out pretty consistently prior to the quarantine starting. So a lot of changes outside of T that impact muscle mass and body weight that I can't completely sparse out of what is doing what. In month 2, I still got my period. Not as heavy as I have prior to starting T, but still there and still like right on time, just not as heavy. Those are about all the physical changes that come to mind, or that I've been able to spot, really. I do think that my voice is changing just a little bit. It feels tight in the vocal cord area, like you want to reach for a glass of water. And it has cracked a time or 2 or 3. Not excessively, but I have caught it and people have pointed it out before. It's not a major change, it's very gradual, and I think I said this in the first video also. When I hear myself recorded, it feels very much a feminine sounding voice up until this point, but I do think that that's changing just a tiny bit. Going back to mental aspects, the second month have felt pretty heavy. Again, I hesitate to say that it's all because of T, but has been something that has been present for me in the second month. So I do just want to throw it out there. I have no doubt that it's also in part everything else that's going on in the world that is chaotic and very stressful. As an empath, I absorb a lot of that, and it's difficult to difficult to digest. But not to sound like a broken record, I will mention it because deep dark thoughts are a potential consequence of people starting tea early on while your body adjusts to those hormones. I know that some people report suicidal ideation when they're first starting tea, so I'm not going to undermine that there are psychological changes that occur early on in a person's transition. Those have been manageable. They don't necessarily catch me off guard. They don't feel unbearable, but they are present. And for somebody who is not taking good mental health, that's not taking good self-care, that is lacking practices of, working through emotions, those feelings might feel a little bit heavier and a little bit more frightening. So just something to keep in mind if you're just starting tea, or if you're thinking about starting tea. Consider that can be something that happens to you, and have a plan of how you're going to deal with those. I see a therapist. There's no shame in that. So it was something that I brought up to my therapist, and we worked it out. I've also been journaling a little bit, which I think helps process some of those thoughts. And I will say that they have since dissipated. They showed up in maybe the second week of the second month in a pretty pronounced way. And it ebbed and flowed for a few days, maybe 7 to 10 days. And then they were on their way. So it was okay. It was manageable. That's about it that I have for month 2. I mentioned increased gender dysphoria in month 1. It's still present in month 2, not as significantly. That could be a product of having less feminine like things around my house. I've done a pretty successful job of clearing that out. It could be just a slow adjustment to the testosterone. It could be an assortment of things, but it hasn't felt as clawing as it did in the first month. That's about all I have. I will continue making a 3rd video, and like I said in the last video, if you have any specific questions, comments, things you'd like for me to elaborate on, please leave that in the comment below, and I will address it on the next video. All right.